Can you hear me okay? It's not too loud?
No, it's perfect.
Okay, okay. So with all Diana Reese's help, and bless her heart, she's on the screen with us. We haven't been able to project it on the big screen, but for those of you on Zoom, you'll have the speaker right in front of you. And for those of you in the room, everybody can hear, so. Let's enlarge it for right now for the minute. Could everyone please mute their mic on the lower left-hand corner of your computer? There's a little picture of a microphone. Just hit that and you'll mute it so you won't get any background music, any background noise. Well, it's music too. And then I'd like to put everybody up on the screen right now as we're opening.
If you want, I'll do that right here.
You want to do that? Because then we're going to start with a meditation. Okay. And you started the Go Live?
Yep.
Okay. Just going to try to get everybody up on the screen there.
Yeah, you have to take care of your body because, you know, anything about
Got somebody.
breathing, not being able to get enough breath.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. We're going to start. Somebody has to mute yet. Just ask them to mute. Yeah. We don't want to do this.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Well, welcome. This evening, we're just excited about our program, and bear with us. We're trying to learn how to put all of this on the big screen so we can develop an educational library on our website for Redeemer. But for those of you who are new, I'm Kathy Zarling. I'm one of the two parish nurses here at Redeemer, and I'm just thrilled to have so many of you tonight. And we're going to start with a devotion, a little bit about dementia and the biblical approach. When you first hear the word dementia, what pops into your mind? Old age? Alzheimer's? Nursing homes? The high cost of care? Well, no one likes to talk about dementia. Nobody wants to have it. And still, biblical counselors need to know about it because chances are they will eventually, as many of us, work with, care for, and learn about dementia in our loved ones. In brief, dementia is a cognitive disorder. Thought processes, many parts of our brain are involved. The affected person's thinking, ability to gradually do things will deteriorate over time. Everyone's different, and there are several types of dementia. And when I heard our illustrious speaker, Amy, speak to the parish nurses a week ago, she informed us that there's over 100 types of dementia. So you better get your notebook out. We're going to go through each one tonight so you're well informed.
No, we're not.
One thing that's interesting, in 1900, for people aged 65 or older, only 4% of the population had dementia. In 1980, it jumped to nearly 11%. What do you think the percent of people in our country, in our general population, will be in 2030 with dementia? I won't make you all guess, but it's going to be about 22%, so nearly a fourth of our population. Researchers found that just over 1% of those 65 to 74, 1%, have cognitive disorders. The percentage jumps to 4% in people ages 75 to 84, and about 10% of any of us that are lucky enough to be 85 and over. So dementia is here to stay, and it behooves us to learn about it for ourselves as well as our loved ones. The biblical approach has a standard definition of dementia as being decreased mental capacity, such as memory loss, inability to think abstractly, impaired decision making, and the inability to communicate normally or as well as we'd like to. The biblical approach values the contribution of all types of healthcare providers, physicians, psychologists, people who are expert in dementia. And our one speaker tonight, and possibly two, and I'll explain that in a minute, have both been certified as dementia caregivers, as dementia professionals. The biblical approach recognizes that people with dementia and their loved ones can well benefit from counseling, hopefully Christian counseling. And it's advised for people that are involved to try to take a personal interest in finding someone that can help them. In 1 Timothy chapter 2, verses 3 to 16, there's a passage that focuses on widows and the treatment of widows. The Apostle Paul tells us that widows first need to provide for themselves or remarry. If this isn't possible, then they need to find ways to have their family help them or care for themselves. And as we look forward, many times the church is called upon to give care, and we certainly want to do that wherever we can. But from a medical standpoint, a nursing standpoint, our hope as parish nurses is to empower all of you as parishioners and with your loved ones to really know your resources and hopefully find the best resources for you to make the best health care decisions. So with that, there are many, I did some Googling, and there were over 47 really well-known verses in the Bible. Excuse me, here's somebody else to come in. There were over 47 verses that were directly connected to caring for others. I'm just going to read the most popular one, which I know you will all recognize. Oh, I suppose it fell off. Oh my gosh, I put it away. I was busy rushing around and I put it in my briefcase. It's right here. Probably the most well-known verse is, it's more blessed to give than receive. We hear that from the time we're young up. This truth endures in our heart and minds, even in secular cultures, because it's so self-evidently true. While it seems kind of counterintuitive, when God stirs our hearts to give and we are obedient to Him, we experience satisfaction, become more conformed to the image of Christ because He gave to us and we want to do that in return. So again, there are many verses in the Bible that teach us how to be good caregivers, and in the same light, please know, as being caregivers yourself at some point in your life, it's also important to take care of yourself. So I think of all these verses that we read about, and I know Amy's going to address this, talk about the importance of care for the caregiver as well. So with that, I would like to introduce to you our speaker this evening. We are to have two. Amy Tucker was here at Redeemer in November. I know many of you heard her, and it was a wonderful presentation on all the care that visiting angels give. And at the end I had to miss it because we were up with our family, but at the end I understand one of the newer physicians in our congregation joined in with Amy, and they talked a lot about long-term care, end-of-life sort of situation, so it was really a rich conversation. Amy's been with the Visiting Angels for 12 years. The Visiting Angels Rochester has been here in Rochester, their franchise, for 15 years. And Amy Tucker's been with them 12. And then Judy Strang, who we're hoping can join us, is the RN supervisor for the organization and was held up at work tonight. So if she can get here, she will. But I told you that both ladies are certified dementia caregivers through the TIPA SNOW program. It's becoming very popular across the country, and I have many professional colleagues who have taken that program on how to care for people with dementia and memory problems. And so again, Amy's going to inform us. As I heard her talk about it for the first time the other day, it really struck me that it's a much more understandable, if you will, understandable way of looking at memory loss and dementia for all of us. You know, we hear about stage 1, 2, 3, 4 on everything nowadays. But the TIPA SNOW program really, I think, takes a very personal, engaging approach to this. So I hope you'll find that tonight. With that, I'm just so pleased to introduce Amy, and we'll have plenty of time for questions. So, Amy Tucker. Is everyone hearing okay? No problems? You on the screen? And I know everybody here can.
Okay, here we go. I think I'm gonna try it without the mic. Can you hear me without the microphone? On here?
For the
Yeah,
live.
we will want to keep it on for the live.
Keep it on. Okay, I'll keep it on. All right.
I could try to get you a lavalier.
Oh, yeah.
You start
I think I
talking.
used that last time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think what we're gonna do to start off is I have the TIPA SNOW video. She's super entertaining. She's a lot of fun. And I can't present it the way she can, even if I try. It's about an hour long with pauses, so we're gonna skip over some of the pauses. And we're just gonna watch her, and then I'll stop and talk intermittently. I also have handouts, and then I can email, or I can have, we can email this stuff to you guys so you guys can see it as well. But I can't do both. I can't show the slides and watch the video. So we're gonna get that started. And then someone's gonna help me get the video started. Can you help me with that?
Yes.
Okay.
It'll be a lot easier to put this around your ear.
Yes. So, okay. And now, we can
I know, I was trying to figure out how
That's so many things.
to. We just can't do anything
Yeah.
nicely.
There we go. Okay.
Edith already is in there. Just joined the thing now.
There we go.
Pause this one.
So they can see this.
Oh, and we're not gonna be able to get it up on there.
So,
Flip it
we'll
around.
push it to our audience. We want you to.
That's gonna be difficult. Let's see here. What if we logged on to Zoom? Can we do that?
No, I can't.
We tried.
That's great.
I'm gonna turn the lights down. Sid, could you help her move it a little closer to our audience? I want the people on the
Maybe we
screen.
can plug it for now.
Yeah.
And then what about the people on Zoom?
Is that making it too dark for the people on the screen?
Yeah, because it, yeah, and it's.
How do I just verify that?
Huh? They can't see the screen at all.
Too many lights
here.
now.
Yeah.
What?
Too many lights now.
Yeah, so. Just that. So could somebody just unmute real quick and like let us know if you can hear, or if you can see what's on the screen, and then also if you can hear this?
And yet my skill set requires that you figure out how to create an environment that's safe for me. But it's
Was everybody able to hear that? No, okay.
It was sort of choppy.
But you heard it, but the sound was choppy.
I heard bits of it.
Okay, so, yeah, so that was me, because I did skip through it, so, yeah. it should be- Yeah, okay.
Alright, if anybody has questions as we go, I'll jump up and pause it. We're kind of struggling with technology. Can you guys see this? Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can see this.
Can you-
Is that fine?
Okay.
What we're going to talk about now is the difference between normal aging and not normal aging. Now understand, I did not say dementia, I just said normal aging, not normal aging, because one of our big misconceptions in this country is that if it's not normal aging, it's going to be dementia. And that's not true. So we've got to get that one off the table. So what I'm going to do very quickly is give you two quick little role plays that are going to take you through normal versus not normal. So I'll do normal first. I'm in the living room, and I've been watching a TV program. The program finishes, and I decide, you know what? I'm thirsty. I think I'm going to go make a pot of coffee. And I head toward the kitchen to make coffee. But before I get all the way in the kitchen, the telephone rings. And so I answer the telephone.
Yes.
Hello? Oh, hey, sweetheart. How you been? Well, yes, of course I know who it is. It's, right away, just couldn't think of your name. Yeah, senior moment. Huh? What? Oh, no, I'd love to get together. Oh, today? Okay, what? At 2 this afternoon? All right. Oh, at the mall. Okay, well, which end? Macy's. Oh, that's where J.C. Penney's was, right? They moved out and then, I know what you're talking about. Absolutely. The menswear is at the same, yep, I know where to be. 2 o'clock, I'll be there. Wait right inside the door. I'll be waiting right inside that door. It's supposed to be a little chilly this afternoon. Yeah. Huh? What? Oh, they opened a new chocolate store. Oh. Well, you know me. You know what I'm going to get. I'll get caramels. I always get caramels. You're going to get, I know you like the white flaky stuff in the chocolate. Yes, coconut, of course. That's you. Huh? Oh, no, I'll be happy to call and see if Margaret wants to come. That'd be great. Yeah. Oh, the vacation pictures? Oh, yeah, I'll bring them. Wait till you see yourself in that bathing suit. Oh, I was just kidding. Just teasing you. You know how I am. Such a teaser. She's getting fat. I'm not going to say it, but she sure is getting fat. Okay, huh? What? No, I didn't say anything. I was just talking to myself. Writing a note. All right, sweetheart. Well, I'll see you then. Love you. Okay. Bye-bye. What did I come in here for? Okay, hang on. Let me think here. I was in the living room. I was watching the TV. Program ended. Telephone. Betty hadn't called. I'd been able to remember. Okay, let me think on this. What in here? Okay. I was in the living room. I was sitting right here. Okay, and the program ended, and I thought, man, okay. Coffee. Why could I not think of that? Lord knows I'm losing it. Now, all of you've gone dead silent. Because all of your brains are going, oh shit, I have this. Every single one of your brains is going, oh my God. And your brain is going, that's not dementia, that can't be dementia. I don't think that's dementia, that's just normal. Isn't that normal? I think that's normal. Your brain is talking to itself. One side is going, I think you've got that. No, she didn't say that was dementia. I think she said that was just not normal. I think that was okay. That happens every single time. The room gets dead silent. Because if you just think old people are worried about this crap, no, we're all concerned. Because you're going, I think I've done that. I did that just yesterday. What you've totally forgot, because in that moment your brain was going, because I said that was normal. I was going to do normal first. So here's what I think I better do. Do this. Roll your shoulders. I think we better do it one more time. You need to let it go. Breathe out all the way, because you guys are going. And by the end, your brain's going, shit, oh my God, you got it. I got it. It's stress. It was just stress. Especially when I had to come back and sit in the chair. You're going, oh my God. So,
Skip some of these pauses.
okay, so here we go. Hand up. Human beings have 5 ways to take things from, do this, out there and get them in their brain. 5 ways to take data from the world around you and put it in here so you can use it. You can process it, you can understand it, you can appreciate it. So the number 1 way, notice how it's separated from all the others. It's special. Do this, be an artist. Visual data. Visual data is the most powerful incoming data. It is what human beings prefer, and it is what they want first in any way of collecting data. They want to see something first. It allows them to see it, and then they can start to think about what they want to do next. But what you see is the most powerful sensory input that you're going to get in your brain. But here's the interesting thing about vision. Show me what you see with. Point to what you see with. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Put your hand back here. This is where you process in your brain what you see. So brain activity in the occipital area, the back of your brain, is where you process visual input. There's a little bit of distance there, isn't there? What connects the input system to the processing system is wiring. And in dementia, all wiring goes on the fritz and then dies. Just so you know. So there's a lot of wiring here. It's complicated wiring. It's actually fairly complicated because how many eyes do you have? 2. So you've got to take in data from 2 eyes, integrate those 2 pieces of data, process it, and then make sense of it. So all that's happening in the back of your brain. I'll show you in a few minutes.
Do you think that this happened because of the download?
Well, we could plug in a flash drive. Just, yeah, get off.
So, a couple more things can go wrong. That would be awesome.
While they're fixing that, everybody arrived today saying they had a horribly hairy day. So this was just a continuation, so. We're trying to remain calm.
Of course, you have a beard. Okay, so,
Oh, here it is.
yes.
I got it.
So we have our videos up here.
This one. I think that one would be better than the download probably be faster.
Sure, but you never know these things.
Both sides are involved, but they're very different. This side is very different than this side. How many ears do you have? 2. All forms of dementia, all forms attack the brain asymmetrically. It means it attacks one side of the brain more than the other. That's how it works. It hits one side and then it spreads more. So what happens in general, the left side of the brain is generally attacked sooner and faster and more devastatingly than the right side of the brain. We don't know exactly why, but most patterns of dementia attack, you're going to see more on the left than on the right. Left, right, language areas, but they're different. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Third way that you get data in your brain, take that middle finger, drop it down, and touch it to the back of your other hand. Now this is actually complicated, and this is one of the most complicated, and it also takes up a lot of brain space. This is sensory motor. You feel something, you do something, you do something, you feel something. They're wired together. So that when you feel something, if you like it, you do more of it. If you don't like it, you stop doing it. So when you feel something, you do something to change or encourage or facilitate what you're feeling, and if you don't like it, you don't do it anymore. Here's the biggest challenge of dementia care. Turn to the person next to you. And if you will come up this time for me, Sharon. Thanks. All right, now what we're going to do is eliminate vision, and we're not going to talk. Okay, so we're taking away 2 of the ways that you would normally be able to get data into your brain, and I'm just going to use that third way. Oh. Go ahead and do that so you get the feel of what it feels like when you're doing this. So you can already tell where I'm going with this. This is not a good one to start with because most people are not fond of the idea of starting an interaction like this. And I do this particularly so you'll start to get the idea, no touching until you've done a visual verbal, and only then are you allowed to do the touch. You got to make sure they come together. So here's what we're going to do. You close your eyes. People with dementia, put your hands behind your back because I want you to feel incredibly vulnerable. That's what this disease does. It robs you of skills, so you suddenly are pretty vulnerable. And you thought you were competent. Okay, so caregivers, here's what you're going to do. You watch me and do to them what I do to my person. Okay, y'all should have your eyes closed. There should be no peeking. Notice how many of you opened them up to see what I was up to. Yeah, they're sneaky like that. Okay, you ready? We're going to use these. Okay, you ready? And now, one more. Now, I'm going to touched, your eyes flew open.
Never mind. Oh, there it goes. Pause. Okay, so that one is actually a really fun experiment, and that little exercise that she just did. Let me pause it. Okay, how about that? That little exercise that she just did is really powerful if you actually do it with somebody that you're sitting next to. This is a super small group, and we've got half the people online, so I'm not going to do that to you guys, but it's really powerful, and it's good knowledge if you're going to be dealing with or interacting with people that are living with dementia. It's a good thing to know what she said about visual and then hearing and then sight last. So I will not stick my middle finger up at you like she does, but I think understanding that, whether you're talking to somebody with dementia or not, it's a real good practice to get in the habit of doing. So the thing with dementia is our sight starts to deteriorate as the disease takes over. She talked about all that wiring that goes on. And it starts with our range of sight right now. We can see what's kind of movement going on over here in the sides, right? And then as dementia progresses, our sight gets down to monocular. So if you take a look at monocular vision, and if you do that, put your hand up to your eye, close the other eye, right? And I'm talking to you, and I'm standing this close. What can you see? How does that feel? It doesn't feel really good. And I think she'll talk about it in the next section. So, and if I were to walk up to you, and you're my mom, right? But your vision, right? And I just start touching you and feeling your hair. It just is alarming. And
I'd say that was my mom.
and you don't know that that's your daughter, right? So on top of the brain not being able to recognize who you are as it is, now you've just got these blobs of people that are things that are touching you. So and I think she'll talk about it next in this particular video, but so give people a chance to identify who you are. So standing back, and because you don't know at what stage, you'd go away from stages, what progression level the person that you're interacting with is at. So that it goes a long ways. But I think with just people in general, it's a good thing to do, to stay back, let whoever you're talking to get you in their visual, give the brain a second to process that, and then speak, which she's going to talk about next, and then be invited into personal space. So keeping that stuff in mind. So anyway, that one is really, so if you can just remember that in general, sight first, then speech, and then touch is very last. So getting invited into that private space. So here we go.
How many of you realize you had a really hard time not going, oh, wait a minute, hang on there. Now, what I want you to do right now is touch yourself where we just touched you. Go ahead and touch yourself where we made the touches.
We can skip that part too, then. It's okay.
How many of you feel that that feels different than when we touched you? Yeah, because if you are doing it yourself, you're actually sending and receiving, and it's a closed circuit. However, when we do to you, it's an open circuit, and for your brain, we eliminated the knowledge of where and when the touch was going to occur. So your brain was going, oh, 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 oh. It was a hyper alerting. And let me tell you something that we don't think about touch. Light moving touch. Light moving touch. Cockroaches crawling on your skin. Clothes rubbing across. Someone sneaking up on you. Light moving touch is an alerting, arousing touch. It's the hyper alert kind of thing. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. Because it says something's coming and you don't know what it is. And so what happens when we put our hands on people, even lightly, so you touch them lightly and say, wake up, sweetheart. Boom! because it came out of nowhere. So what I'm going to do is have you try something a little different. And we'll really work on this skill this afternoon, but I want you to test drive the model and see if it makes a difference. Okay? I want you to shake hands with the person. Now, I want you to tell me for a second, what's the most common contact we have with other human beings when we're greeting them and interacting with them? Hand contact, right? So shake hands, and notice the next thing you're going to do is let go. Oh, well, that's a bit of a problem. Because I want to stay connected, because I want to keep the touch so that you'll know what I'm going to do. But the problem is when I lose skill and keep strength, and I like pressure, go ahead and do it. Ow! Wait, Mom, let go. Let go. What are you doing? Okay? Or if they feel like I'm trying to hold on to them, it makes them want to get away from me. Okay? So what we're going to do is as soon as we shake, where did I tell you found comfort? So what we're going to do, and I don't want to trap your fingers. I want to leave your fingers free. I want my fingers free, but I want to be connected to you. So what I'm going to do is slide like this. Do this. Open your fingers up, both of you. Open your fingers up. Make them go like this. You should feel like you've created a bird. A butterfly. You're connected, but you're free to move. Close them down. They can hold on to you. They can use strength. They might use skill. It's comforting because you got pressure down there at the palm. And here's the really cool part. Hold on to them with your strength fingers, and you still can use your skill fingers. How cool is that? And you turn it so you're underneath, which gives the sense of, I'm here to support you and help you, not to try to keep you from doing things. Okay?
Okay.
Now, here's what we're going to do. You're going to lay your other hand on top of that of your hand. You try this. Get them to, now this is an interesting phenomenon. The oldest sensory motor track in the human brain is eye-hand. It is the one that develops first. You put a baby, sit it up at 3 months. What will happen if you let go? Down it goes. It doesn't even have trunk control. Doesn't have head control. But if you lay it on its back, so it doesn't have to do a whole lot of work, and you put the dangly crap down, right in the middle range, they're fascinated by it, because they like to see it. And then they're just starting to learn how to do some of this stuff. So they're not very good at it. They don't have skill. They just have some strength. They're learning how, and they're learning to move against gravity. And so, and you can watch it when they get it. It's like, look what I did. Did you see it? I have control. And suddenly their excitement builds because they have the feeling that they control the world. Oh. So what we're going to do, that's the oldest, most primitive sensory motor system in the brain. It's the one that is going to prevail the longest through the end of this disease. It'll be the last one I lose. Eye-hand. But I'll lose skill before I lose strength.
Okay. Okay, so we should try the hand under hand technique. Have you ever done that before? No? Okay. So to do it, you should try it with the person next to you. It's a way of touch that is very comforting for someone living with dementia. So the way that it works, I'll use you, is you go in for that handshake, and then it is a twist. So the person living with dementia has their hand on top. Control. You don't feel autonomy. Yep. And then move into the side like this. So you should feel it because it feels really comforting.
That's the way my mom liked to hold hands.
Is it the way she liked to hold hands?
Yeah.
It is, and then she talks about it a little bit, about the pressure points in your hand, and I think she does it in this particular video, but when the stress works up, if you're sitting with someone with dementia and you do this type of hand holding, and the stress starts to work up, there's a lot of visual things going on, or a lot of noise, or all of a sudden she doesn't recognize you anymore. This pumping of the hand is very comforting and can kind of bring the attention back here. So that's the other thing about it. Also, it's much more supportive for walking with and ambulating with someone living with dementia, or even if elderly not living with dementia. It is a much safer way to walk with somebody, and I can show you that too if someone wants to stand up and feel that.
I'm happy to.
Okay.
I do work with them.
Okay.
And being able to walk with or to lift them safely.
Yep. So this walk and then the hand under the elbow is much nicer and easier to do than, now of course in the Benedict house, you're gonna have different transferring than me grabbing mom's hand like this and then we're far apart and I'm leading you, pulling you versus,
Right.
yep,
Different phases.
yep.
I love that.
I do too. And you have to think about it a little bit, but
If you want any responses from people, we'll use this mic.
okay.
If anybody wants to make comments as to
I'll
how
stay
it
away.
was, yeah, because they couldn't hear you, Bobby.
If anyone is trying it.
Not in the middle, yeah. Sorry.
There you go. I turned it off.
Oh, if anyone is trying this at home, having heard this presentation, try it with a loved one, try it with someone you're greeting or sharing the evening with. It's very natural, feels very reassuring.
Can they see us on there? Yes? Okay, we can do it together.
That's what's causing the problem, so I hold this.
Okay. It doesn't surprise me. If anything else, the hot water heater is gonna explode at any moment. So you go in with if you take your hand like this, and then you go in like a handshake, then there's a twist. She talks about a butterfly. So the back of her hand and the front of my hand, and then you just pull it down like that. I would come closer. And then it's a hand under the elbow. If you're sitting next to someone and they're sitting down, so you might not necessarily be standing and walking with, the other thing that it allows us to do, should we turn this up?
They need to hear you.
So, okay.
This over here.
The other thing that it allows you to do, eating, brushing your hair, what is your first name?
Bobby.
Bobby. It gives Bobby independence. So let's say we were going to brush your hair. It's much better than me coming up and doing this to you than if we do this hand. I can hold the brush. So she talks about, Teepa Snow talked about the skill going first. So I've got the skill, here's my 2 fingers. I can hold the brush and I can lift up, and now you're doing it too.
Yes.
Yep, or washing your face. I've got the sponge, but your hand is up there. Eating is the same way. If I'm sitting next to you and I'm grabbing the food with my skill fingers, but she's moving up to her mouth. And how much better that feels then. Open up, Bobby. Open up. So it is nice. So try it. It does take a little bit of practice. It doesn't come naturally, but it makes a world of difference. So we'll listen to see what she has to say.
But here's the really cool part about human beings. Do this. How cool is this? Visual, motor. Watch this. She's here, she's looking around. So let your partner look around for a second. They're distracted, the world's really interesting, they're excited. Wow, how cool is this? Take your other hand, lay it gently on the back, and give a pump in the hand. And no matter what they're doing, they will pause, they will look at the hand, and they will look at you. Let them look away. Pause. Give them a chance. Check. Because when your hand touches something, your eyes want to see what it is. When your eyes are looking at something, it will also draw your hands. That's the other bad news. So what their eye sees, their hand wants to touch. And you're surprised when they start doing it. Well, you're the one that said, exactly. You put it right where they can see it, within arm's reach, and they're going, okay, look, goodies. On the other hand, if I do this, no matter what she's doing, she's going to notice me. Once I've got her looking at me, okay, here we go. Here you go. Horse. Right here. Yeah. There you go. Good. You got it? Yeah. Yeah. Now, right here. Got it? Perfect. She travels with me, so her brain is both getting and giving. I've reestablished the two parts of the loop so that she is doing with me, I am not doing to her. And she can give me feedback. I'm liking this scared me, this was okay. Take more time here, but this was fine. Did she give me all that feedback? Yeah, we're talking to each other without words. Because what I'm doing is using what she has left to help me communicate with her with the way that she can get the communication, as opposed to overwhelming her system with data. Okay? So with your partner, I want you to give that a try. Feel the difference between touching with versus touching someone. All right. So you're starting to get a sense of this.
When we're with memory care patients, we never come to speak to them when we're out of visual field. We're going to startle them or abruptly interrupt wherever they are. So we're always in front where they can see us.
She's giving me the mic.
Our memory care patients at Benedict House and TEG at Madonna Towers may be in another place altogether. We never approach them from behind. We always come into their identified visual field. Otherwise, we would interrupt and startle them. Further, in my personal interaction, I have always invited my hands below their neck out to where their shoulder is, usually reaching out as an invitation to touch. If they permit, they will receive me. They'll bring their hands to mine. And yet your engagement with your hands was the most reassuring next step for that. And I just wanted to mention that invitation and that permission.
Very good point. So yeah, that's something that we train too. This one is a little bit discombobulated because we usually do go through that. So we talked a little bit about vision. We went right to the way the hand was held. But what you're speaking of is the approach. Sorry, struggling with this little pocket thing. Okay. So what you're speaking of exactly, we usually, and we all know about this, right? Public and private space. 6 feet is public space. So if you're approaching someone that happens to be sitting there in a wheelchair or a chair, and it's your mom, or it's your aunt, or it's your neighbor, or it's someone that you know, you're still going to approach this way every single time, 6 feet away. So I'm going to say, your name is Carol. Okay. So, hi Carol. So I'm staying, just like you spoke of, staying in that 6 feet. I'm going to give her my name, even though I'm her daughter. Amy. And then we go in, so my hand is reaching towards you, and you're either looking at me like you are right now. You're telling me I'm not grabbing your hand, so I'd stay right here. And I would say something like, how are you today? How are you? Or that's a pretty color. Or You want to get something to drink? Are you thirsty? And I'm using hand motions, and I'm using smaller words. So I'm trying to get her comfortable. She might be pulling into sight to me, and then I will reach out again and say, right, so now she's inviting me in. Phew, I wasn't sure how long I could go that way.
Amy, one
But-
question. When you introduced yourself, Amy,
Yep.
would you say, I'm your daughter?
So typically what they're saying right now, what experts are saying, is not to say that. We work with families all the time, and it's your favorite daughter on the phone or something like that. To be funny, go ahead and give your name. So, and that's one thing that I said, this is something that you can just start doing and practicing everyday public. That is so reassuring for me. Please give me your name. Please give me your name, because I forget names all the time. So just give her your name, and don't say daughter or my favorite son or your grandson. Just say Mark, and reach out. So good point. Try not to use daughter. That's startling for somebody that can't remember from moment to moment. And maybe your mom or your dad or the person you're dealing with dementia remembers you every time. So one day they might not, so just give them your name. So that is a good tip. So thank you for bringing that up.
That kind of assistance has a term, and the term I've given that kind of assistance is hand under hand. It denotes the position of my hand. My hand is under yours. My hand is there to support yours. You're the boss. I'm here to help. I'm here to guide. I'm here to assist. I'm not here to take over and try to do things to you. I want to do things with you. Because I know if I can get your brain to understand what I'm doing, you're going to cooperate. You can give me feedback even when you can't speak anymore. You can give me feedback that doesn't result in me getting hit. We can figure out ways to share information because I'm paying attention to what you're able to do. So I'm going to show you where this data gets processed in your brain. It's huge. Do this. The entire top surface of your brain is devoted to sensory motor, sensation and movement, and they are, do this, hardwired together. What you feel drives what you do. What you do drives what you feel. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there is wiring between what you see and what you do. And there is wiring in a normal brain between auditory processing and sensory motor processing. So if I were to say for two of you all, stand up, we're going to go downstairs, your brain would take in that auditory data, translate that into an action statement, and get your body organized to stand up, and you would even know where we were heading. By late stage dementia, that's exactly what people with dementia hear when we try to give them auditory data. They lose the content, but they keep the rhythm, and they can't figure out what we're trying to get them to do. And it's not because they're not trying, and it's not because we're not trying. It's because we're using the wrong system for what they have left. So the other two, what you smell and what you taste. Those are your five senses. Those are the ways you get data into your brain. So what are they? What you see, what you hear, what you feel and do, what you smell, and what you taste. These three are your skill manipulators. These two are strong and primitive. But people with dementia are just in the opposite way, like children when it comes to sensory data. Children develop which of these first? Curiosity or safety awareness? Which do they get first? Curiosity. Who's in charge of safety awareness? Someone else, not them. They can care less about safety awareness. They're curious about everything. They want to investigate everything. They're curious. They want to check it out. They have absolutely no safety awareness. Fortunately for everybody, they're pretty well padded. They have pretty quick reflexes. They don't have necks. And their heads sit right on top of their shoulders. They have a long torso. They've really got lots of padding everywhere, for both insulation and padding. And their bones are not fragile. They're pretty dense. They bounce. When you get dementia, your brain fries in the opposite way it was developed. It dies, it fries. It's not working in the opposite way. So what are they going to keep? Curiosity. What are they going to lose? Safety awareness. Here's a heads up, you're not my mother. I resent it when you try to be my mother because I've lived a rich full life. I am not 3 years old. I am not 18 months old. You don't treat me like that. And yet my skill set requires that you figure out how to create an environment that's safe for me. But it still has to have this or I won't stay there. But if it's too much, I get overwhelmed. And if it's not safe, uh-oh. And I don't have what they have. I don't have padding. My bones are fragile. My fat pads have all gone to my trunk. I don't have it in my extremities. And I'm losing skills, and I lose them in the opposite way I develop them. That's the reality. So real quickly, we're going to go back to our scenario. Because what I want you to realize, human beings, when they decide to go do something, what happened is I was sitting here and I got a call to my appetite. I'm thirsty. Core. Well, now the core of my brain is in the center part of my brain. Do this. This is the limbic system. This is that thrive to survive. This is the part that says I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I've got to peep, I've got to poop. And now it's time, and you guys are getting close to that. It's, look, temperature regulation. It's also how I fight infections. It's heart rate, respiratory rate. It's wake-sleep cycle. All that's in the core of my brain, in the limbic system. And then part of that limbic system, put your index fingers out, is my amygdala. Your amygdala is this survival thing. It's your impulse center. Yeah. Fight, flight, fight. Part of the limbic, but special. It's basically designed to protect you in moments of danger. So it's, shit, what was that? No, I don't like that. I want what I want when I want it. Do that. Oh, what was that? Because some of you can't say shit. I don't know why. You can in certain situations, but just not here in front of everybody. Oh, what was that? That's fright. Then, no, that's flight. I want what I want when I want it. Fight. Fight, flight, fright. Automatic, basic core stuff. Then around the outside is built other stuff. The last part of a human brain to develop, put your hand right up here, is this one. Safety awareness. That ability to think things through, to be thoughtful, to consider your options, to control that limbic system, that autonomic system, and instead say, you know what, not a good idea. Hang on there. Let's not go right now. Let's wait a second. Decisions. Initiating, sequencing, terminating, and being able to see something from somebody else's point of view. Very last part of a human brain to develop. There are some people who never get it. Just so you know. You know me. So here I am in the living room, and I decided to make coffee. Ah, that was my limbic system saying, you're thirsty, go get something. And I started to act on that, but what happened? Oh, look, gosh, telephone rang, an interruption, auditory. I knew what to do. I answered the phone because I recognized what it was. And then when I heard my friend's voice, I knew who it was, but I could not think of her name right that moment. That is normal aging. And here's why. What happens with normal aging is the following. Put your hand on the back of your brain. For each human being you've ever met, you take a picture, snapshot. If you see them multiple times, you have multiple snapshots. And you have them each in a file folder marked that person. But then, in order to come up with the name of that person, you have to go up here to the left, temporal lobe, and find your file cabinet for names. You have to sort down through the list of names to find the one that matches that picture. And then what you have to do, go over here, you have to do voice recognition, and match it up, and then out of your mouth from this side comes the word, hey, Betty. Here's a reality check. Our speed of processing slows over time. It's basically 0.5 to 1% per year from the time you're 25 on. Yeah, around 40 to 50, you start to notice the slowing. And so I go to get the data, and it's like, the mouse is not clicking nearly as fast. Now, let me tell you something about these mouse. If you keep clicking that button, You freeze the mouse up, and the mouse goes, oh shit, I don't know what you want. Hang on, stop. I don't know what, wait a minute, I'm thinking. What am I thinking? I can't tell you anymore. You want me to think of something. I can't think of it. Oh, wait. It starts with a B. I got to the file drawer. I even got to the right area, but I couldn't come up with a name as quick as I wanted to come up with a name and the expectation. And so some of us go, oh, hey, sweetheart, how are you? I'm cheating. I'm using automatic system to cover for the loss. And some of you call me on it. Who do you think this is? Why are you so mean? One of these days you'll be older. You'll have that moment of, shit, I don't know who that, I know him. This is why we give you name tags. This is why name tags are a good thing. Because what did I provide for your eyeballs? Check, there it is. I don't need to look in the file cabinet. Look, I found it. So as you get with older people, you'll start to notice when you wear your name tag, they look at your name tag after they look at your face, and then they say your name. That's because they're smart. Some of you are doing it here. And if not, you hate when people call you on this. Why are we so mean? Here's what you want to learn how to do. Hey, Betty, it's Tifa. Why don't we talk like that anymore? We used to say things. There was a polite way that you did the telephone. We don't do it anymore. You go, hey, you know who I am? Or my least favorite, when you know somebody has dementia, Mom, which one am I? What is this, a quiz right away? I don't like you very much anymore. You're making me feel stupid. How many people like feeling stupid? Raise your hand if it's your favorite way to feel. We've got to quit doing this, because what ends up happening is you shut down my system, you don't make it work, because right away you shoved your agenda at me. So when we go downstairs, which we are going to do, because you know what I'm noticing? Your limbics are starting to get really active. Y'all had coffee, maybe some juice, you had those, and your limbic is going, we need to pee. We need to pee now. I need to get up, I need to go pee. Can we go pee? I thought we were going to pee. Are we not going to go pee? I need to go pee. And so your limbic system is sort of queuing you up. We got to go soon. And it better not be long. And getting out of these chairs, we better be careful. Because also I will tell you, some of you have to cue the system up. And here's the first thing. Tell me what you do first thing in the morning when you want to go to the bathroom. You want to know what you do? Hold the pee. Because in the very beginning, your limbic said, we need to pee. And when you were really little, what happened when you needed to pee? You pee. As you get older, you learn, not here, not now. We have to put it in a place, a certain place. As you get a little older, these systems are not working as quick and sharp as you might hope. So you actually have to devote energy to hold the pee, make the other muscles work, but hold the pee, keep holding the pee, hold that pee. Keep holding it. Ooh, we're in the bathroom, do not let go. Hang on tight. You got to do a lot of other things. Keep holding the pee, hold back the pee while you go, okay, now put it down. Now the guys have another problem. Okay, now you can let go. Okay, really, you can. It just relax. No, don't hold on. No, come on, there's more. I'm telling you there's more. Come on, let's let it out. Come on. No, tighten up. No, that's not enough. So the women have stress incontinence and the guys have bladder outlet problems. They have retention. So this is the tricky part of getting old. It has nothing to do with dementia. But you put dementia on top of it, and we have big issues. When we meet back downstairs, what we're going to do is finish out the scenario and talk about skill building. And the whole thing is going to come together for you to help you appreciate how you can help people take in data and how you can use your skill to be supportive. We need to do a quick review because we changed places. And one of the things we know about brains is where you learn and hear something.
Okay. So I have, my friend is with me now. Judy.
So this is Judy, and she's going to talk with us a little bit about the brain. So this is the part that I was kind of waiting for her. And that microphone maybe? I'll let you introduce yourself. And Judy, we're doing things kind of out of order because we had a little bit of discombobulation, but we have 30 minutes.
I introduced you as the RN supervisor for Visiting Angels, so you've heard that one.
Okay, that's good.
We have about 30 minutes, and there is 23 minutes left if we watch Tipa straight through. But they also, I think you were wanting to really talk about the brain and the different types of dementia, or would you rather watch this mostly?
Well, it might be interesting at this point to see what questions people have,
Okay.
what their wish is. Because I know when you talked with us the other day, Amy, you gave us so many tips.
I
about,
did.
You know,
Yep.
different types of dementia, you could just do that as well.
Okay. Which way do we want to go? Do we want to keep just powering through and listen to Teepa? This part of her presentation is 23 minutes long, so we could just power through and listen to the rest of what she has to say and then just leave it open for questions at the end. Or we could take a little bit of break and talk about the brain and the different types of dementia and then watch Teepa.
Well, I'm thinking to follow through with
What she has to
this
say.
presentation and your graciousness to then help us pinpoint understanding the parts of the brain involved and how we're engaging someone and why they're responding or
Okay,
where
yeah,
we can
yeah,
find the strength in them.
sure can.
Okay, let's do that. So anyway, this is Judy, and she'll help me for the last 7 minutes. And we'll just go right past the pauses.
Matters. And one of the things as we get older, it matters more than you think. When you change rooms, your brain resets the screen. And that is one of the reasons, even if there wasn't a phone call, you might walk from one room to the other and then, what was it I came in here for? Because when you're in a whole new setting, look at all the new data that's coming in and it's bombarding your senses. And if you didn't strongly hook the thing you wanted to go do into that, what's called working memory, by the time you get to the new place, there's nothing to find. Unless you go back to where you had the thought before and then you can find it. Now, I just said a word that's really important, working memory. We now know there's a whole variety of different kinds of memory storage in the human brain. We used to just think it was either long-term and short-term. That's not true. Working memory is probably one of the most vital kinds of memories, and it involves a complex process. Do this. Working memory means that you have to wire together all parts of your brain to get it to work. Because it's complex, human beings can hold the following number of things in working memory. Working memory means I'm able to manipulate and work with them all at the same time. 5, put your hand up. 5, isn't that wonderful? 5 to 8. That's the most a human being can hold on to, and this is the least that a normal functioning human being should be able to hold on to at a time. 5 to 8. So I should be able to hold on to at least 5 pieces of information in my working memory. It's actually pretty complicated. I've got to do a variety of things to do it, but I can. So what I did when I wanted to make coffee, when I was sitting there and finished the TV program, I put make coffee in working memory. And then I went to a new place, and before I could get settled in the new place, the kitchen, which is where I would make the coffee, the telephone rings. So I didn't quite make it to the kitchen to establish the relationship, which would have allowed me to go ahead and do what? Make coffee. I could have finished it off. But instead, what happened is the telephone rang. Attention, attention, new data, incoming. So what I did is I went and answered the telephone, and the first thing, it was my friend. Now I got diverted a little bit, because what did I have to find? Because the way she did it. Her name, and so that took a little energy, so it's my friend Betty. And then she asked me a question. Do you want to meet? She gave me data. At 2 o'clock. At the mall. At Macy's. She told me there was a new chocolate store that opened. And then I had to hold on to the information about that. And then I had to go find the thing that I know she likes. So I had to go do that. And it was the shut up. The what? Now that reaction was you trying to give me more data when I was already trying to work with data. And so what did you notice my little limbic did? Shut up, I don't like that. So shut up is a way to say you're trying to do too much and I didn't like that. And it's a fight system. It was an automatic. So people say, shut up, I'm trying to, would you leave me alone? That distress sign is just, you're trying to put data in and I'm already processing, do you mind? And what you want to say is, I'm sorry. I said, I'm sorry, I was just trying to help you. It was like, what part of I was trying to process data and you're interrupting did you not get? And what's our natural reaction when somebody says, shut up? No, I was going to tell you why I was interrupting you. That's what you want to do. Do this. Go ahead, do it. Y'all love diarrhea of the mouth. You get diarrhea of the mouth. You try to tell them even when they said, don't tell me. You ignore their message back to you because you have important You want them to understand why you interrupted them. I don't give a shit why you interrupted me. All I'm trying to tell you is quit interrupting me so I can finish what I was doing. Now, some of us are always that way, but guess what happens when you get dementia? Even if you weren't, you become more that way. Guess what happens when you're stressed? Same thing. So professionals, when you're trying to talk to families about, this is what I want you, well, shut up, I can't take it. Family members, you're trying to talk to another family member. I can't hear this right now. Would you, particularly you're trying to talk to the one who's the primary, because you're observing that their behavior is not helping, and they're going, ah! And you're going, wait, I just want to tell you. What did they just tell you? I'm full, leave it alone. We have a hard time hearing that message, don't we? Because it means we need to do what? Take a time out, just shut up. And then when they pause, that's when you say, I'm sorry, I interrupted what you were doing. Because we want to work with them, not fight with them. And if you keep pushing your agenda, do this, take your finger and poke at somebody with it. Go ahead, poke. Look, how many of you like being poked with that? Would you just be quiet? So what I'm going to tell you, this is a critical message for you to get into your brain and appreciate. When I give you negative feedback, it's not because I'm trying to be ugly. I'm trying to get you to listen to me, because you're generally trying to talk to me. So I put coffee in there, but all this other stuff. I filled up all the space. Not only the 5. I'm going to have caramels, but you're going to have coconut, and we need to meet at the menswear entrance. So what will I not have with me when I get there? The vacation pictures, and who will I not have called? Margaret. Where's coffee? Well, I lost that a long time ago. That's not even on the table anymore. I mean, it's long gone. I don't even have a way to get to it anymore right now. Except if you're a young person, you're young and your wiring is really good and quick. What will happen? What was the first thing I did when I couldn't think what it was? I looked around the kitchen. So the first thing you do is you look around the kitchen. A young person hasn't done that much stuff in the kitchen. So they look around the kitchen, and what do their eyes notice? The coffee pot, and they go, cha-ching, drop the penny. They don't have to go anywhere. You're a little older. You've done a lot of things in the kitchen. Some of them we want to talk about, some we don't. But you've done so many things in the kitchen, you can't look around the kitchen and get it to pop. So then you try system number 2. You always go in this order. You talk to yourself. Tell your children it's healthy. Because what you're literally trying to do by talking out loud is prompt the memory of why you came in there. You literally say to yourself, and everybody did it. I heard some of y'all do it. Now, what did I come in here for? Because now you've moved to auditory cueing. You're trying to cue yourself up, because if you say it out loud, maybe it will prompt what it was. It will be enough of a cue to get you to go, cha-ching, there it is. But that didn't work either. Because when you get a little older, it wasn't firmly enough embedded, and there's too many other things floating around now. I've lost it. So I have to actually physically travel back to the setup where I was. And then if you watched, I tried the whole thing all over again. I looked at the chair, I looked at the TV. I say to myself, I was watching TV, the program ended. And I still couldn't get it to pop until, cha-ching, there it was, right there waiting for me in my working memory. I just couldn't get to it. Normal aging. That's absolutely normal. All of that is normal. I'm in the living room and I've been watching TV and the program ends, and I said, well, you know what? I think I'll go make something to drink, because I want something. I'll make some of the stuff that you get. Gonna make it. Phone rings. Hello. Hey, sweetheart. Yeah. Who is this exactly? Betty who? Oh. Well, why didn't you say? Okay. Well, what do you want? Me? Today? Why do you wait till the last minute? I wish you'd tell me ahead of time. Well, I don't remember you you talking about it at Bridge? Did you talk about it at Bridge? Well, you talk all the time at Bridge. Your mouth runs incessantly. Huh? Well, okay, I don't mean to be mean, but you just talk a lot, that's all. What? Oh, you want to meet at the mall? Okay, well, that's fine. Which end? 2 o'clock? Yeah. Macy's? Well, honey, I don't think there's a Macy's at that mall. Where's there a Macy's? No, that's a J.C. Penney. It's a J.C. Penney's. I have a card with them. I have a credit card with them. I know what it is. I buy things there. What do you mean they moved out? No, I shopped there not long ago. There's no way they moved out. Did they just close up? Well, good Lord. No, that's still, you sure? I think you're wrong. Well, fine, I'll meet you at that end. I know what you're talking about then. Huh? Inside the men's, well, of course I know where inside the menswear is, but you better get to the right store. You're not going to be there. Huh? All right, well, fine, whatever. What? Oh, they opened a chocolate store. Well, you know me, I love that. That's my favorite. What? Well, I'll have caramel, and you'll get the, oh, you like the kind of brown hairy ball and the brown stuff. What do you mean, what am I talking about? I'm talking about the brown hairy ball kind that you like. You like the brown hairy ball. Do you speak English? Honest to God, get what you want. I don't give a shit. I mean, whatever. I won't start arguing about this. Huh? Well, no, I'll call her and see if she wants to come. That's fine. What? The vacation pictures. Oh, back on the boat? Yeah, I'll bring them. Wait till you see yourself in that bathing. Well, honey, you look like a cat. Now, I'm telling you, your butt cheek is hanging out so bad. I mean, it looks I mean, you must have put on, what, 30 pounds? I mean, you're eating too many of the brown hairy ball things. That's what's going on. I mean, that's all I can tell you about it, because you got to be sucking them down because the way it's coming. Well, if you don't like looking the way you look, you should do something about it. That's what I say. Well, listen, do you want to get together? You're going to get an attitude. Well, then I'll see you there too. That's fine. I don't know why you're so stirred up. You're the one eating. All right, then. Shit. I mean, I don't know what her problem is. Lord, she gets an attitude. Now, let me think here. Oh. A dirty cup. A coffee cup. Now, I told my son that I was fairly sure that gypsies were coming in here at night and making coffee, drinking my coffee, and leaving dirty dishes, because I've never left a dirty dish in my life. And here it sits, a dirty coffee cup, partially drunk out of. I'll guarantee this has their prominence all over it. And I better go check the bathroom, because sure, when they get in here and get that, they'll steal toilet paper, too. They always steal toilet paper. Look at that. See, the roll's empty again. They come in here, and he thinks I'm not nuts, because I saw that it's gone. Well, I'm going to go down to the corner store here and get some toilet paper, because there's nothing worse than constipation, and you got to go, and there's no toilet paper. You got to have some. So I go down to the corner store, and I pick up a few things that I need, because I know there's some things I need. And I come back, and I go to put them in the fridge and such, and there's another quart of milk in there. Well, I wonder who brought that by. I don't know when they brought that. Well, good. I can make use of it. It'll be fine. And let me go put this toilet paper up. You know, I'm not going to put it in here, because sure as hell they'll steal it just like they stole the other stuff. I'm going to go put this in the spare bedroom closet, because they won't think to look there. Okay, here we go. Oh my God. This is where they're keeping it until they bring a truck to come pick it up. There's got to be 30 rolls right there. I'm going to hide it under the bed. They won't know where to look for it. At 10 minutes after 2, the telephone rings. Hello? Hi there, how are you? What do you mean, where am I? I'm at home. Where are you? Well, what are you doing at the mall? Well, if you wanted me to come to the mall, you should have called me. I can't read your mind. What do you mean you did? Who'd you talk to? No, I didn't talk to you. I don't remember if I talked to you. I haven't talked to you in, I don't know, a month or so. You did not call me. Maybe you called the other one. Listen, I mean, I hate saying this because I hate even bringing it up, but I think you best go see the doctor. Because I think you may have that dementia they talk about, because I think you're all turned around, sweetheart. All right, well, bye-bye. All right, so at your table, I want you to do a quick review of what's normal and what's not. So go through the laundry list of everything we've talked about and see if you can highlight some of the things of not normal. Just talk about your not normals.
Hand that mic around.
Does anyone have any questions?
Let's review the normal and not normal.
Okay, we can do that. So, according to Teepa Snow, what is normal? If you run down the list of your children or your grandchildren before you get to the right one, is that normal or not normal?
Actually know exactly
That's
who I
normal.
speak
That's
to.
normal.
Yeah. And is it normal to put your keys in the refrigerator or not normal? Not normal. Okay.
Can be normal sometimes. The what, I think?
Well, I think we've all thrown the keys in the garbage. I mean, that's normal. It's like, oh man, I can't find my keys. The last time I remember I had them in my hands and, oh, I threw the garbage. Normal.
The other one I like to throw an example of is you're sitting at dinner or a meal and can you hand me you cannot come up with the word, and the word is fork. That's normal. Where it becomes not normal is you're holding a fork and you have no idea what to do with it. So that's a good example of, not being able to bring the word fork to your memory. Even after 10 minutes, you still can't think of the name. I think we panic a little, that's normal. But not knowing what to do with it, like actually not knowing how to hold it, not knowing what it is would be the difference. The other one I tell that I think is a good indicator is you're driving or walking and you miss the turn that you normally would turn to your house and you're completely lost and you're only a block away and you're completely discombobulated, you can't figure out. It takes a minute to get your orientation and where am I, where do I go? That's normal. What's not normal would be to be standing in front of your house and not recognizing which of these houses is mine. I have no idea. Honestly, no idea, and I'm standing right in front of it. So that's the difference. Normal and not normal.
Does that help? I think, have you gone through, it's like she touched on some of the parts of the brain where the frontal lobe, it's kind of your judgment and safety. And you know that as teenagers, that has completely developed. It develops over time, but it's also the last to develop, the first to go. So if you find people like, oh, why didn't they see that car? They just pulled out in front of a car. Or don't they know that they have to take their walker when they walk? They stumble all the time. They forget that judgment, that safety, that they don't smell the propane in the house anymore. So you open up the door and woof, you get a face full of propane. You go, all right, in that case, what are you going to do?
Go outside.
All right, if they answer the door, encourage them to come outside. But if they're on the floor inside, you do not want to go inside. You leave the door open for ventilation. You moving around can cause static electricity that can ignite the propane.
So you stay outside, you leave the door open and you stay outside, you call 911. Let the professionals handle the other part of it. What would be another one? Smoking in bed. I've done this my whole life. Well, you know, you're falling asleep more. Let's see, the back of the head, the occipital part, that's where the vision is. And the vision is one of the first things to go. Are you going to notice the vision? I think she talked about the vision being way out here, and then as you age, it goes narrower and narrower. That's because from the eye to the back of the head, there's a lot of brain in there. And when the brain is dying, it has to take the long way around to get to the back of the brain. So the peripheral part is leaving. Let's see, what other parts are there? Language, which would be the temporal.
Yep.
And the language, which is also, you know, kind of the higher function, but it's also the temporal, the left side of the brain. But this is also where you store the naughty words. And so when this part of your brain starts to die, those naughty words,
reasoning, self-awareness.
Those naughty words are going to be unlocked. All those words that your mother told you not to say, that your dad spanked you for, are going to come out. That's a clue. Oh, something's going on in there because mom never swore. Now, childbirth is a whole different thing. Yeah.
Was Tifa in her narrative, in her presentation, just signaling to us that she was demonstrating an unfiltered level of communication?
Correct.
She was using a great deal of just the
Judy,
stuff
can you
she
repeat,
was
because they can't hear
intellectually
without the
talking.
mic.
Can you give her the
She
microphone?
needs a mic, so maybe you could repeat what she'd said, so the audience.
No, that's okay.
Tifa was doing her whole presentation in the dynamic of, she's introducing a great deal of real unfiltered communication, loose communication that is just uncontrolled, just coming out. And I thought it was extremely effective because I thought, well, that's Tifa and her personality, because she's driving it home with real stuff. This is basic, real raw stuff in life. But she was also signaling to us that this was a demonstration of unfiltered communication. And I thought that was, for me, it was effective. I've never met her, and I feel like I really got to know her.
Yes.
In her presentation.
Exactly. So I think what you're asking is she demonstrating what it might be like to lose some of those
Social skills, really.
the prefrontal lobe. So it's like Judy said, it's the last to develop. Anybody who's ever had teenagers, we pray for that to develop quickly before they do something dumb, or if you remember your own teenage years, no awareness whatsoever. And with dementia, all the different types of dementia, and there are some handouts here talking about some of the big ones, that is the first thing to go. So it's the umbrella. The one with the umbrella kind of shows the different types of dementia.
And these are just some types.
Yeah, I was she told us we were going to list all 100, but we're not. But those are what were you going to say?
Just a question. I was just kidding, by the way, about the 100.
Yeah, I know.
You know, on TV a lot lately, you'll see people, they'll talk about their parent having dementia, getting very belligerent.
Yes.
And you see that very often in people, and isn't it that same lobe that cannot filter the language for
prefrontal lobe? Yep.
And people who we have a good friend whose mom, most gentle person you'd ever meet, and with her dementia, it's been the worst challenge of all for the family because of her behavior.
Swearing, and it is really embarrassing for the family.
And sexual connotations. They'll be sitting in a restaurant, and then dad will be making stupid comments to the servers and people around him,
or caregivers in facilities.
Yeah,
inappropriate touch, saying inappropriate
things.
And the family will say over and over again, this was not Dad, this is not who he was. It's so hurtful for the family because it is so hard to understand your adult parent acting in a way which, how do you parent your parent?
And you can't change it. There's no behavior change. You have to meet the person where they are that day. Their behavior that day is describing to you where they are that day. So if I come up to Amy, she's my sister, she's struggling with dementia. So Amy, hey, it's really good to see you again. Do you remember me? Versus, or she might say, yeah, Judy, boy, have you gotten fat. Where the have you been? And that's not Amy. So do people always swear when they have dementia? No. I would say 80% of the time they do.
How would you respond to that comment though?
Okay.
How when you're approaching, the person with dementia is approaching a loved one and talks to them that way, how should the loved one respond?
Yeah. Okay, so then I come up to my sister Amy and I say, oh Amy, it's good to see you again. How are you doing?
Well, I say bad things.
Yeah.
Usually we don't do it this way. Usually we reverse because she's better at being the bad one. But how do we respond to that irritated, agitated, curse words, angry?
Yep. So then it's acknowledging her feelings. Oh, Amy, you seem upset today. How do you not take it personally? I don't know. But you can build a shield, recognizing that this is where she is today. Oh, Amy, you seem upset today.
Or just saying, I know you're upset, or I know this stinks.
I'm sorry for you that you have to be going through this.
I'm sorry this is hard is even a better one. Not I'm sorry for you. I'd be so mad if you said that to me.
Good to
In
know.
my good state. I'm sorry this is hard. We talk a little bit about the language on the left, and that's one of the first to go, is the language. And Teepa talked about it in this particular video just slightly. She did the mumble jumble when...
Oh, that every fourth word.
She didn't do that though,
Oh,
so she didn't
okay.
explain. Every fourth word is what a person living with dementia is picking up.
So if I'm going to come at her like a machine gun and I'm talking the leg off of a chair, what is she going to be understanding? Nothing.
Or it's just, so the agitated piece tends to get agitated because I can't understand what you're saying. I don't recognize you. I have zero time to process this in my brain, and you're still coming at me. And you're kind of telling me, like we hear a lot, Mom, don't you remember? I told you had a doctor's appointment. Don't you remember? You have a doctor's appointment. Don't you remember? Like, get rid of that one from your vocabulary right now. Stop saying, don't you remember? Because the answer is no, they don't remember. So,
That's right.
Instead of coming in and saying, Mom, why aren't you dressed? You have a doctor's appointment. And then Mom might be able to say, doctor's appointment? Yes, I told you. Remember? I told you yesterday we have a doctor's appointment. And now heart rates are going, and what is going to trigger? Well, not logic and reason, not self-awareness. The limbic system is what I've got left. So now I go right into fight mode,
Yep.
or freeze, or flight if you happen to be very mobile and take off on you, right? Or I'm going to reach out and smack you, because that's all I have left.
Yep.
So in response to your question, you ignore it and you repeat back and use less words. So I don't know what you said to me, what you were trying to get my attention with, and I responded that, oh, how are you?
Mm-hmm. And it's like, hi, Amy.
Yeah, maybe
Simple.
Judy, even though I may or may not know it's
Yeah,
Judy.
yeah. Hi, Amy. It's Judy today. Give her time to process that. Yeah.
Mike, please. Mike, please.
I have a friend who has dementia, and when I go to visit her, she can't finish a sentence. She's,
It's that speaker.
yeah.
No,
She-
we have to get far apart. The two mics are too close. I'm sorry. Yeah, Amy comes over here.
Okay. Maybe I need to get up. Anyway, she doesn't need, she can't finish a sentence, and then she'll go on to something else too. So it's really hard to talk to her. So is there a solution for?
Can you give an example? Like, so maybe what are you talking about?
Well, she just comes up with random things. You know, I just don't know, and then that's the end of it. She doesn't finish anything, usually. Other times she will. Like the other day, she said, I said something about, I asked her how she liked her lunch, and she said, well, it's okay. It's like, but they don't have a very good dietary department here. She
Right.
comes up with a whole big,
Like,
so,
That's nice, she came up with a whole thought and could express it.
yeah, she did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And part of, I mean, when you get really good, I'm not saying it's not draining when you visit your friend. Very draining. It's actually grieving on your part. But it's also trying to hear what is not being said. So it's, what's your friend's name? Ruth?
No, her name's Pat.
Pat. So Pat, would you like a cup of coffee? Short. You wait for an answer. It's going to take maybe up to 30 seconds for her to process the answer. Yes or no?
or you let her babble.
Yeah, and just let her
And
babble.
just shake your head and
Yeah.
smile.
Acknowledge.
Grab anything you can out of what she says, anything, and go with it.
Mhm.
If she said, and then the birds came and took away all the kids, and the kids were gone, and I want to make a
I know.
quilt, and you grab that, just say the birds. There are a lot of birds outside singing. Anything you can grab
Mhm.
and try to bring it back, and if she
Mhm.
keeps going off, let her keep going, and just grab whatever you can. Which also says, do not try to talk people out of their reality. One of the biggest ones we get, and tell me if anyone has been here, but I want to go home. I want to go home. Not, she hasn't said that yet. You probably hear it.
So often I am responsible for understanding the motivations of my interaction. What did you need from your friend? What were you needing to hear? And so often what you ask of her is what you need. You're not actually meeting her needs. I just want to say that it's often that we don't question the reason for our statements or our questions.
So can you give an example of that?
Ruth had the example of, how did you like your lunch today? I think your motivation was to just find a positive topic, and she could say anything, even the few words that were you considered it unfinished. That was enough, and help that person just feel accepted and satisfied.
Even if she said dogs are purple. Great. Purple dogs. That's fun.
And I like to believe, Ruth, that there is some part in her that knows you're there, that knows you're a friend, and you come to see her. She can't express it, but she knows. Sure,
Yeah.
And
that's a precious gift.
I asked her once what my name was, because she wasn't talking, and I was just trying to think of something. And she goes, Ruth. Hi. She got the whole name out, which I
Oh, wow.
was really surprised.
Yeah.
Could we
That's a
just
little
check,
gift.
oh, sorry, Judy, I was gonna ask if anybody on screen maybe had a question, because we have several people on Zoom here. So Does anybody on the screen have questions for Judy or Amy? You can just unmute your mic. Anybody there? See if I stop share, will that make them forget?
Oh, maybe.
Because we were sharing the video. Anybody that's on screen yet? Jane, Olivia, Herb, Darlene? Anybody have a question? Doesn't sound like that they're muted.
They all fell asleep.
They all fell asleep. Well, hopefully they get here, because it was wonderful discussion, and especially the video. So go ahead with comment. Oh, here comes one. Olivia, did you have a comment, or you're just back on screen?
No.
Okay.
So oftentimes.
Hello, Jane.
Good to see you, Ray. Do you know Jane Maiden? No. From none of the Jane. Here, we got a question here.
So oftentimes, but I suppose not always, people seem to remember things from 1942. They remember things from long, long ago, and can talk about it. Is that a common thing, and is that a good thing to talk about then? Because they do seem delighted to be able to talk about something they can.
Very
science
common.
For.
She talked a little bit about chemicals, but there are two kinds of chemicals in the brain that lays down memory. You have a short-term chemical, so if I tell you my phone number, 10 digits, probably you would remember it for about 30 seconds a minute. Then it's gone. Then you have a long-term chemical that is laying down those long-term memories. So the memories that were laid down when you were an infant and a child and a school kid and a young adult were the first ones to be laid down, and they're going to be the last ones to go. So yeah, one of my favorite questions is, do you remember your first day of school? Oh man, do I get some great stories. It's just wonderful. Take them back, absolutely. So you might even want to take your friend back. Do you remember your first day of school? You may or may not get an answer. Now, as a caregiver, I find I worked with a lady one day that every single meal she had in the dining room, she was in school. And how wonderful it was to be in school that day and look at all the kids, and they seemed to having so much fun, and mom and dad brought her in the buggy, and mom and dad are going to come and get her, and it was the same rhetoric every meal. I was so tired of it. But that's, as a caregiver, that's normal for me, but that's where she was. She enjoyed school. She enjoyed being with other kids. If it was snowing, she liked it when mom and dad were on their way.
And instead of arguing those some people, especially family, like Judy just said, I got so tired of it. If you can join them where they're at. So a common one is a spouse that's passed away. And if it's Judy's spouse, Bob, Judy keeps saying, well, Bob's gonna be home. I gotta go. Bob's gonna be home. We gotta get dinner ready. Bob's gonna get, and then it creates this panic. Instead of saying, Judy, Bob's dead. He died 5 years ago. Remember? I mean, that is the kind of responses we hear. Like, how would you like to hear that your spouse of 60 years passed away every single day for the next, so instead, where does Bob work? So now you're not lying, but you're trying to just engage that memory of where she's at and bring it to a different place. So now we're not going to talk about Bob coming home from work, but where do you work? Oh, okay. What were your kids' names? And so you're just going right back to that spot that she's at. That's another key. So go back there with them in a positive way. Yeah.
Follow their brain. Well, not too long ago, Pat was having, we were just waiting for lunch to come. And so some of the people were talking in the room. They have a common area for lunch. And two of them were arguing, and then the guy started asking me questions about my name and this kind of thing. And somebody else told him to be quiet. And next thing I know, Pat, who had her back to him, says, "Just shut up," which is what she talked about there. And boy, it got real quiet in there, nothing was said after that, and it was really nice.
Did you have something? No? Okay.
Well, maybe, let me see, if there aren't any questions on screen, if there aren't any. No, mic quit. This is good, okay. If there aren't any questions on screen, maybe we should close. We just so appreciate Amy and Judy coming and sharing. It sounds like there's lots of questions out there, and you've probably just scratched the surface. I want the people who are online to know there are some wonderful handouts, and maybe the ladies can leave them with me, and if you'll just email me, I'll get them to you at church or mail them to you. So you have them. There's what, 4 or 5, that are just wonderful explanations of what dementia is and how it affects our brain. I think with that, we really appreciate everybody attending tonight, and wonderful discussion and presentation. And as you know, we're starting to put these on the Redeemer Educational Library, and Sid Thompson, our AV guru, is putting them up for us, so it shouldn't be long before it'll be available if you want to review and listen to tonight's presentation again. So with that, why don't we just close tonight with the Lord's Prayer, and then we'll end. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Well, thank you all so much. And for those of you on screen, we'll sign off, and